Go ahead, Luca.
On?
Yep.
Do you hear me?
Yep.
So I understand about the regret when you talk about choices made. What about the regrets we have about certain things we've done that we wish we can go back to and undo, or even that ugly guilt that's attached to it?
This is a wonderful question, because when looking at the energy of regret of things that did happen versus the imagined things that didn't happen, can you first and foremost understand you have a large amount of energy still in that moment, correct?
Correct.
So let's walk back, and anyone who has something that they did do or were involved with or wish never happened. Not the imagined one, but the one that really did happen for you in your life. Energetically put yourself back there. This isn't about emotionally. This is not some big thing where you're going to be asked to feel it all and live it out again. But energetically bring yourself to that moment in time. And this is going to sound a little bit cliche, but stay with this from an energetic point of view. In that moment, in that circumstance, in what you knew at that time, literally ask yourself, was I doing the best I could in that moment in time, even if I would never do it now?
I guess. I don't remember now.
Yeah, but okay, this is a wonderful follow through. Oh, this is juicy, right? Because you're incarcerating yourself for something that you're not even sure how you feel about.
I know how I feel now. I don't know how I feel then.
Right. So what you've done is you've projected your current day sensibility, how you've learned, how you've grown, how you've changed. And you've decided that from your current day sensibility, you should have had it then. Would you agree?
Correct.
The regret exists in the space between who you were then and who you are now, and you're putting who you are now into the who you were then, and you weren't that person. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
Okay. So connect with yourself in that moment. And this goes for many of you who are in the middle of this. Connect with yourself at that moment. You see, the regret, this is very important what's being said here. The regret comes from a different energetic field than the one that thing occurred in. Do you get that? This is big, folks. This is ginormous, folks. Regret exists, not in the place where you were, but where you are. So let's get back to where you were in that moment. And look at yourself, who you were. Bring yourself outside of yourself, who you were. You knew certain things that you didn't know all the things you know now. You haven't become who you are now. Look at yourself in the face there and say to yourself, I understand you were doing the very best you could at that time. I forgive you for all that you've done in that moment in time. And I'm sorry I'm holding you to a different standard than you had available to you in that moment. I see that you were doing the best you could. I love you even though I would not make that decision today. So the question comes up again. In that moment, not for who you are now, but who you were then, were you doing the best you could?
I was. I mean, I must have been.
You must have been, exactly. Can you love that version of yourself who was doing the best they could, regardless of how messy it was?
It'll take some work. I have to revisit this.
Yes. Because in this moment you're in right now, in your life, in this current moment, would you say you're always doing the best you can?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So if you in this moment are doing the best you can, that means you can let that earlier version of yourself off the hook for having done the best they could. And then what you do is understand that since that happened to this moment in time, you've changed. You've transformed. You have a different sensibility. And your current day version of yourself has grown and changed so that you might not do it that way again. But who you were deserves the love that they were doing the best they could.
Gotcha.
Just as you deserve the love that in this moment, every moment you're doing the best you can. Remembering that and set in love and light and understanding that regret of the sort that's coming up right now is a regret that emanates from who you are, not who you were. And as you begin to release that previous version of yourself and love that previous version of yourself for doing the best they could, and you don't have to love their actions from where you are now, but you can love them for doing the best they can. You know what you will do? You will gather a lot of energy and resource to be available for you. Because you won't hold them hostage to a standard they could not have lived up to. Because if they could have lived up to that standard, they would have. It's just your standards have changed. You've raised the bar. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Big
You've
time.
raised the bar. So that's also a celebration. Look at who I have become.
I've come a long way for sure.
Celebrate, acknowledge, see who you've become. You have a beautiful example to see who you've become and celebrate. You'll be so grateful to let yourself off the hook. You'll be energized and feel alive in a way that you have not for a very long time. Be kind and gentle with yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
James, you open up a can of worms here tonight.
It's a wonderful can of worms, isn't it? It's a wonderful can of worms because These are important conversations. How many of us think about the energy of regret? Except for when we're regretting things. We don't understand what it means, what the energy of regret does, and how we can free ourselves from the bondage of it. And you all deserve to be free of the things that hold you back from your light and your greatness.
Yeah. Thank you, Ishtara.
I am with you now and always. My name is Ishtara.